Hello, class. My name is Sarah, and today I'll be responding to Debate 4, Side A. The U.S. should continue to support Saudi Arabia with military aid and weapons. Um, First of all, I'd like to say while I was watching the debates on Side A, I noticed a lot of the arguments were well thought out, so I definitely enjoyed formulating my response, and it was definitely a challenge. So, for some of the arguments, I noticed that Saudi Arabia's importance as an ally against Iran and its strategic position in the Middle East was a main component of some of the arguments. Although I do see the other side's point of view, I believe that this kind of proxy war is incredibly dangerous and has gotten us into trouble previously, like in Vietnam. Um, and it's just not a good idea for the United States to get involved in some of these foreign conflicts. Another argument I noticed was our dependence on oil and Saudi Arabia's ability to provide it for us. I do recognize that oil is an incredibly important resource in the United States, but I also recognize that not only cars run on oil, but also our electrical grid and the infrastructure does not exist in the United States for a fuel-free power grid. So this was a very powerful argument, but I think instead of providing other countries around the world with aid in the form of weapons and military support, we should instead be focusing more on how the United States can provide itself with its own energy renewably. I think some of those efforts internationally could be better directed at home, especially when it comes to foreign reliance on oil. In general, I think the United States should be less involved in conflicts across the globe, especially ones that don't involve us directly. As far as the United States being the world police, I think it is also important to scale back U.S. involvement in many countries around the world. I think our view of ourselves as the world police actually has quite a negative connotation in a lot of countries and may contribute to why our reputation abroad sometimes isn't the best, especially when it comes to civilian populations and like in the Middle East. Um, Many failed instances of U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts, like that in Iraq and Vietnam, warns us that there may be unforeseen consequences as a result of many of these foreign conflicts that we get involved in. Um, Module 7, just to draw on some of the recent class material, Professor Ripley explains that our involvement militarily around the world may help explain why many countries don't like us, just to kind of back up the point that I'm making. Unfortunately, there are many examples of times where the United States supported human rights abusers, like in Colombia and also Saudi Arabia. And I don't think that we should be giving these countries a free pass on human rights just because, they're an ally or have strategic importance or give us access to oil. I don't think that's a good reason to give countries a free pass on human rights. Additionally, I think our military presence may have other unforeseen consequences, such as the forming of possible future terrorist groups. Our long-term involvement in the Middle East opens up more opportunities for some of these groups to form and develop anti-American attitudes. I also believe that our presence in the Middle East has contributed to the existence of current terror organizations and may be responsible for even responsible for some of the terror attacks that have occurred in Europe over the past decade or so. Additionally, I think the U.S. should be more thoughtful when deciding which conflicts to get involved in or intervene in. Thank you for listening to my response for Debate 4, Side A, and hearing why the United States should end military support for Saudi Arabia. Thank you.